Welcome back to Weekend Mornings. Joining me now is the administrator of the Division of Trade and Consumer Protection at the Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protections, Michelle Renee. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us on this National Week of Consumer Protections. Now, I've got a couple questions here that our viewers have sent in throughout last month and this month, and I would like to ask you first, starting with home warranties. And there's a lot of questions that consumers have when it comes to home warranties. Our first one is, how is a home warranty different from homeowners insurance?
Yeah, I want to be sure we start with saying the Office of the Commissioner of Insurance is going to be the best resource for consumers in analyzing insurance versus warranties and how those items are regulated in our state. Our state's consumer protection is a multi-pronged agency effort. And homeowners insurance usually covers the structure of the home and the belongings inside it from disasters and liability, where home warranties usually cover repairs and replacement for appliances and home systems that could degrade for regular wear and tear. So again, thinking structure and those who come into it versus individual appliances and systems that function within your home.
Who should consider buying a home warranty?
Yeah, this is tough because a home warranty, you need to really understand what it covers. Know the fine print, the details, when it'll activate, and then you need to look at the costs of that. And so compare the costs of a home warranty versus what you have in your bank. Because you don't usually anticipate a system failing on you, the water heater failing. And so do you have the available funds to cover that when you need to? But maybe a home warranty is going to cover that for you, but can you afford the monthly, and will it cover what you need it to cover? So it's really a give and take, or a balance of making sure you understand the details in your own financial situation before you engage.
When we're choosing this, what questions should consumers ask so that they can make that decision?
So the questions you want to ask is, when I need it, how am I able to activate it? How quickly do they respond, or will they respond? What information are they going to need? What's actually covered by the warranty? Is it going to be that the whole system has to fail, or can just a component of it? What are the deductibles, if you will? And who will I be able to use for services? So there's a lot of really big details. And when do I pay? How often do I pay, and when do I pay? And then kind of compare that payment to, if I'm regularly just putting that money aside every month, will I have the bank or the safety net that I need? So a lot of details, a lot of things to answer.
Those are a lot of questions to ask when you're originally signing that contract.
Right, absolutely. And so you have to do your research up front. You have to know the company that you're going to be dealing with and research them before you actually engage in that contract, and check out their complaint history. And that's where the Office of Commissioner of Insurance is also going to be able to help and have information on their website.
What should consumers do if a landlord ignores a repair request or safety issues?
Well, the key word there is ignore. That means they've been in communication with them, and that's where we usually tell a consumer to start, is make sure that they are communicating with their landlord using the contact information they were given at the start of their rental agreement. If they're being ignored, if it's a safety issue or a health concern, go to their local building inspector to reach out to report the issue there, but also contact DADCAP. Report it as a complaint so we can help that communication and open that lines of communication to try and get the repair made.
And what exactly does DADCAP do to help with that situation?
Well, when we receive written complaints, we contact the business, in this case a landlord, about the issue by sending them a copy of the complaint. And then we also examine the complaint to see if there are any state laws, consumer protection regulations, that may be in violation based on the information that we have from the consumer only. We then point that out to the business, ask for a response. So we're trying to resolve the issue, but at the same time, we're working to enforce the state regulations.
Absolutely. So now if a consumer would have reached out with that problem, let's say, to our volunteer organization, Call for Action, those consumer advocates, while they can help resolve the problem, they can't make that state change.
Right. They are a great advocate for us and a partner in consumer protection because they are able to resolve so many issues for consumers. But we also learn from them about these issues, and it's important that they get filed with us as well so we can look at the landscape, the trends that are happening throughout the state by different businesses to be sure, again, that those laws are being followed. And that might be what's required in a contract by a business. It might be a representation that's made, might be money that's being withheld.
Yeah, absolutely. So now the next question is, how can consumers dispute unfair utility bills or service shutoffs?
Yeah, so our state public utilities are regulated by the Public Service Commission. And so if they have concerns about a utility rate payment, go to the utility company, but then also contact the Public Service Commission. They have an area where they help resolve consumer complaints. They're going to analyze the rates that are appropriate. They'll ask that the utility company do an examination, and they'll try that mediation process as well.
Okay. When it comes to identity, how can families help protect older relatives from fraud?
Boy, that's an easy one and a tough one at the same time. You know, identity is a really big topic, and we need to be sure that consumers are aware of what information they have out there and what's at risk and what could be vulnerable. So we need to be sure that our older family members are taking the time to do their research and communicating about issues before they take action and release any information to an unsolicited phone call, text message, email that may be out there. And so helping them be educated on the scams and frauds that are currently circulating in our state is one of the best practices that we can put in place.
And what should consumers do if that information does get out? You know, if you get an email saying, hey, you're a part of a data breach, what happens?
Yeah, we need to take some immediate steps, and that's going to depend on the information that's involved in the data breach. So take a look at the notification that you receive. If you're told that your Social Security number is compromised, you need to be sure that you have a security freeze in place so you lock down your Social Security number with the credit reporting agencies. But if you're told a password has been compromised and maybe your driver's license number, go change those passwords right away, and then you can monitor your driver's license information at the Department of Transportation. But you need to be responsive based on the type of information that's been compromised.
All right. Our final topic is going to be funeral costs.
Yeah.
Now, we have a consumer who was blindsided by the cost to bury her grandmother. What are the basic funeral services actually required by law?
So a formal funeral service is not legally required. I mean, that's an individual's choice. There is no requirement that someone have that. Consumers are protected against unfair and deceptive business practices in our state, period. Doesn't matter the business area. But you're also supposed to be disclosed the actual costs of the services that you are going to need and have to engage in. And you should be able to purchase those services individually as opposed to tiered or packaged type situations. So you can line item the service that you want, if you will, as opposed to, you know, here's plan A, B, and C.
Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning, Michelle.
Well, thank you for having me.